Hey. Hey.
What?
Wake up.
What?
We have a podcast to record and film.
Nah.
Okay. Well, welcome to episode 7 of the Too Bad We Didn't Get Into Cars podcast. I am your host, Nick Scarpinato.
And I am David Kapushikars.
This is our lovely co-host, Vanessa. And that right there is a red
4x4 Jeep.
Yeah, it just says Jeep 4x4 on the box. We didn't get into cars, folks. I don't know how many times I have to say this.
4x4 animal style. Burn it and let it swim. We don't talk about cars here, sir.
What's this? That's not flats.
It is bubble bass.
Bubble bass. Yeah, any bubble bass fans in the house? Woo! Bubble bass. We're a little delirious. It is late in the evening.
I'm loopy.
David is loopy. If the Mother's Day episode was my kind of like unhinged episode, then this is definitely yours. Tell the folks at home why you're so loopy.
I'm gonna be off the rails because today was my first day on site as a dish tech, and I didn't even do anything. Yeah. I stood around watching the whole time, talking to my coach, and I'm still exhausted. We were down in Kankakee area like all day. It's like a 50-minute drive from the office.
Mm-hmm.
Not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but
we're going to Kankakee? Oh. Yeah, I knew that. Keep talking.
But yeah, dude, I'm just so goddamn tired.
How goddamn tired are you?
You know what's really sucks is that I,
David,
as of you watching or listening to us right now,
yeah,
I am going to be in the beautiful state and city of Houston, Texas, baby.
I was gonna do a goddamn drum fill just for you.
Oh, that's right. I am going to be an official cowboy.
Which means you gotta get the hat. This is what we talked about last time. When he comes back, the episode after he comes back from Houston, Texas, he's wearing a goddamn cowboy hat.
I'm gonna buy a hat.
You're gonna buy a hat, and you're gonna be a cowboy, baby.
Yeehaw!
I wanna be a cowboy, baby.
I wanna go home, whoa. I wanna go home.
That's what you'll be singing when you're in Houston, Texas.
I'm just singing that the entire plane ride there.
Yeah. And everyone on the plane, even like the crying baby, he's like, dude, shut the fuck up. Like he stops kicking your seat because he's mad, and he starts kicking your seat because he wants you to stop. I wish you could just do that to a baby's seat. Just kick their seat, you know, if they're crying.
Yeah.
I fucking hate babies on planes.
There's a video of a guy like yelling at a baby on a plane. And he's like, wah, wah. It's kind of like the Family Guy skit.
Yeah, I was just thinking that.
Ryan does it, but someone actually did that in real life.
Why are you doing that? Straight up, why are you doing that? I know it sounds fun to joke about on a podcast, but that's not good behavior. That's not good.
That dude was just not having it.
That dude was just not having it. That baby was not having it, probably.
No one was having it.
I've heard that lawsuit is still going on, and that baby, now an adult, like an 18-year-old.
I don't know if it was that long ago.
Are you sure?
It's a fairly recent thing.
Well. Cite your sources then, otherwise I won't believe you. And the folks at home won't believe you either.
You know what else is a fairly recent thing? Dude, I got my Trivium shirt got recognized the other day.
Did it?
Yeah.
That was last episode was Trivium.
Yeah, I know, but
we recognized it.
This happened. It's some guy, some employee at some store in the mall. I don't know which one it was.
Are you trying to protect our...
I legit don't remember what store it was, but it was in the Orland Mall.
Okay.
Because I was there. And he was like, dude, no way, sick Trivium shirt. And I was like, thanks, man. And I think this guy was on crack. Because he was like going off. He was like, oh man, I saw him at this festival. They looked like such a chill guy. And did you meet him? Is that your first time? Did you you seen them? And just like all these rapid fire questions.
Yeah.
But it was cool because I think you mentioned at some point someone giving you compliments about your shirt.
Yeah, dude.
I got one too.
It's the best feeling in the world. Like, if you're out there and you're out and about and you see a shirt that has something on it that you recognize, don't be afraid to tell that person who's wearing it, like, hey, man, or, you know, hey, whoever, I like your shirt. I think we should be friends. Give me all your money. And then you hold them at gunpoint. Don't do those last 3 bits, but definitely call them out. Or here's the other thing. You don't know, like, who's going to be nervous about it and who's not going to be nervous about it. Like, so we saw at the same mall, we were walking to, like, box lunch or something on the bottom floor. We were walking through the area in the mall where there was a big fountain and there were escalators going upstairs, and it was, like, right next to the food court. It was the main, like, square part of the Orland Square Mall. And we saw someone going up the escalator in a full, like, Deku costume. Full Deku from My Hero Academia. And I remember seeing Deku, and we were upstairs or we were downstairs, but I saw that, and in the middle of our conversation with me and David, I was like, hey, Deku! Plus Ultra! Something like that. And I don't know what it was about the post couple of seconds after I did that, but I felt a little guilty because it didn't seem like Deku wanted to be called out like that in such a public setting, because, you know, whoever was wearing that costume didn't, like, make a big show or anything. I think they just, you know, like, did the head nod thing. Almost like they didn't dress up in full Deku costume to not get called out. Did I use a double negative?
I don't know, man. Don't give a shit.
You're not the person to ask right now about grammatical errors.
But speaking of My Hero, look what else I got.
Woo!
Look who I got.
There's that boy. He got Tokoyami,
Woo!
aka what's his hero name?
Shadow.
Yeah, I know Dark Shadow's the guy. No, his Tsukuyomi. That is his hero name. And
after how long of searching?
Yeah, man. Like, we had gone to Too Cool so many times, and I remember specifically you getting really upset that they had Mineta and not Tokoyami. And every time we went, you were like, what the fuck? And then there were characters that you straight up didn't recognize, and I think there was a Mirio once, but that's whenever we talk about My Hero, we're gonna talk about our favorite characters, right? But I don't know, man. Who are your 3 again? I think you had 3. Your boys.
Yeah, Mirio, Ida, Speeda, and Tokoyami.
Yeah, man. That's a pretty solid trio of characters. Yeah, and there's a lot of Ida merch. There's a decent amount of Mirio merch. I feel like there's more now than there was. But Tokoyami's hard to find. He's definitely, like, one of, like, the B tier as far as screen time goes. Like, he's, like, one of the B tier heroes in Class 1A. So it's like, you know, him and Ashido are probably going to have the same amount of merch for them.
I only like those underground ones.
like Nirvana.
Which is ironic because he flies. But I rest my case. Speaking of rest my case, mid-season of Better Call Saul just premiered. Shit's fucking crazy. Another character just got mollywopped. And I'm just like, holy shit.
Hey Siri, what does mollywopped mean?
Here's what I found.
It's not gonna read it? You have to read it yourself? Fuck you, Siri.
Widely used in the Bay Area, means to whoop/beat down someone badly in a fight. It can even be used when you beat your friends in a game. I sounded less like Siri and more like the OG Pokédex. Like Pidgey, the bird Pokemon. Just add a filter on my voice and there you go, you have it.
Yeah, man. I finished Kirby. We talked about that a while ago.
Yeah.
I'm playing through Mass Effect, just beat the first one. I'm almost done with Earthbound. Man, I'm cranking out these games like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, so David's been really busy.
And guess who is about to be a proud owner of a fucking PS5?
Are you?
Vanessa! Woo! Happy birthday!
Are you gonna buy me a PS5? Dude, you shouldn't.
I'm buying Vanessa a PS5.
I think we're done here.
Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here. Me and Vanessa run this show now.
Yep.
God, what car puns can I come up with, Vanessa? I don't know any car puns. I never fucking got into cars. Also, I'm swearing too much. I'm sorry. This is not the bonus episode. Like I said, I'm loopy, so I'm even more unfiltered. God, just wait till the bonus episode of this episode. Man, I'm going to be going off the rails. Off the rails! Speaking of rails, the Coal Train! We're talking about Gears of War today. Wow. Oh, good. Good job, Nick. It's all fucked. Hey, just like Lieutenant Dan, he's got some ice cream.
Woo! Alright, we better get into our first thing. Because you caught the people up on a lot of stuff that you were up to.
Yeah, you know,
but we're going back to the past today.
Yeah, this is the intro. I just want to give a life update. This has been a crazy week, I guess.
It's been a crazy week.
Also, oh my god, there was the first house we went to. This guy had 9 animals.
Was one of them a ferret?
One of them was a ferret.
Is that why you said you want to pet some ferrets in Kankakee?
Exactly. What a little badass. I'll be sure to put in some footage of it because obviously I recorded it. But there was a dog with one eye, super sad. There was a little baby.
You mean a puppy?
Yeah, a little puppy, but it was kind of old, but it was tiny, so it was a puppy.
Oh.
In my eyes. There's a pit bull that was so friendly. There's a bunch of cats, so I petted one of them. Yeah, there was a ferret. Ferret. Ferret?
Ferret's a Pokemon.
That's right.
Yeah, and apparently, canonically, ferrets are 7 feet tall. When they stand up, they're huge. Ferrets are huge. So if Pokemon ever become real someday, we gotta watch out for them. Big ass ferrets, those cat snakes.
Yeah. Anyway, what the hell's first?
Yeah, so we're taking another trip down memory lane, kind of like last week, where we looked at things from our childhood and our past. We're talking about The Office today. Yeah,
yes.
We're talking about The Office because for me it was a high school thing. For me it was something that I had watched pretty much all through high school. Jim Halpert kind of influenced my romantic tendencies and caused me to stay stuck on the same girl for 3 years despite her not having feelings for me and very explicitly multiple times telling me that she just saw me as a friend. And I remember that episode where Michael and him and Jim are on the boat and talking about Pam, and then Michael's like, well, don't you give up. If this is the girl of your dreams, don't give up. And high school dumbass me was like, yeah, you know what, Michael Scott, I think you got a point there. I'm gonna go to school tomorrow, and I'm gonna tell her I love her. And that didn't happen, but The Office is kind of more of a recent-ish, probably within 6 years.
For me, it was college.
College, yeah. Who turned you on to The Office?
Nobody. I don't know, to be honest. I don't know when I started, because for a while I was like, yeah, fuck The Office. But then, for some reason, I started it, and then the exact line where I knew this was going to be a good show was...
Toby is in HR, which technically means he works for corporate, so he's really not a part of our family. Also, he's divorced, so he's really not a part of his family.
And I was hooked. That was the line that got me.
That was the line?
That was the line. And then very shortly after...
Not that a lot of people here in America know what a senpai is, but it's equally as respected as a sensei.
I was like, okay. I'm watching this entire show.
Yeah, man. Oh, God. I could go on and on. I remember starting The Office. I think I watched it on TBS. They did this thing where late at night, I think it was from the hours of 8 to 10 o'clock p.m. Bless you. They would do the Office Hour, and they would show 2 back-to-back episodes of The Office, but it was in chronological order. So I started kind of recently, when after that had that had begun, and they started doing that on TBS. And I ended up... Why are you opening up bags so weird? Open it from the back like a normal person.
I'm looking.
The fuck? Anyway. Yeah, and so I started sometime in season 2, which was like perfect for me because I don't think I would have enjoyed season 1, honestly. And then I was hooked. And then I found out that they were making new seasons, and so I got to watch. I think I got to watch season 7 as it aired. I think I saw Michael leave live, which destroyed me. But I definitely remember getting to watch the season where they were trying to find a new manager live. Because I remember watching those episodes and being like, oh my god, well this is... Look at all these guest stars. You have Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey shows up for a little bit. Ray Romano shows up for a little bit. Yeah, and then I watched season 8 and season 9. And then by the time the finale rolled around, I think it was like 2013, something like that. And I was still in high school. And again, I cried like a fucking baby. And I love that show so much. And for a really long time, I think it was like my favorite show of all time. Because I would just go... I think I've gone back and rewatched it like with people and by myself. Probably like 4 times. Because it's like...
I've been through the whole thing at least 3 times.
Yeah. It's one of those shows... And people will tell you, like, if they like The Office, one of the, you know, best parts about it is it's so bingeable. But you could also just have it on in the background. It's like, it's a very, like... multitask, you know, it's a show that you can multitask alongside. And my god, man, the amount of hours that I've sunk into Dokkan while having The Office in the background, and it's just like, it's so easy to do. And then that way you start memorizing lines and scenes and you go back to specific episodes, like the episode where Jack Black is in a movie with Pearl Leachman, I think that's her name. And Andy's trying to figure out, he's trying to analyze it, and Jim and Pam are going through like a real life relationship thing, and so he's convinced that Jim and Pam are talking about the relationship in the movie, and you know, I don't know, it's just, it's such a wacky episode, and like you go back to it because it sticks out in your brain. Yeah, man, and then there are characters, and like David and I, it's quote city, bitch, around here when you know, quote city, bitch, when I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do that? I'm loopy. Yeah, man, like, just in general, if you hang out with us or if you listen to us on the podcast or watch us in our videos or whatever, a lot of movie quotes, a lot of TV quotes, and we'll remember things through quotes. Like, I think, like, a couple weeks ago, David remembered something that he wanted to talk about in one of the bonus episodes. Because I said...
it was the Spider-Man Steelbook.
Yeah, because I said impressive, I think. Or I did something and I made David say impressive, and then immediately after he's like, God damn it! And I'm like, what, dude? And he's like, impressive. And he reminded him of, like, Willem Dafoe. And
yeah, because the whole bonus episode, I don't know if it's out at this point, but I was like, I know there's something else I want to talk about. And it wasn't until we immediately stopped recording. And then, yeah, you said something, I was like, impressive. I was like, you're shitting me. The Spider-Man thing. But yeah, dude, even now, like, The Office still uploads, like, compilations to their YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I'm watching them like crazy. Like, there's so many good moments. One of my personal favorites.
What about music? Do you have any music?
Yeah. I should have said so. Give me the beat, boys, and free my soul. I wanna get lost in your rock and roll.
Jim just staring at him was like, I was thinking the radio. Your call, dude. My girlfriend made an awesome mixtape. Beer me that disc.
dude, I think, like, they get out of the car after that, and there's like a little talking head bit where Jim looks at the camera and he's like, Lord, beer me strength. And I quote that to myself all the time. I just say, Lord, beer me strength so much to myself. Oh my god.
every time I hear this song, I just immediately start laughing.
It's so stupid. Oh my god. Yeah.
And then of course there's the fire escape, which is everyone's like, that's like the pinnacle of the show, I think.
Mm-hmm.
just that whole like the training dummy scene. That's where everyone's personality shines through like at once.
Yeah. Yeah, the writers have a really good grasp on what each character does, and you put them in a situation like that where everyone's experiencing the same thing, but they all react to it differently. Like, Angela throws her cat through the ceiling because Oscar is up there, and Oscar's escaping through like the vents in the ceiling, and she's like, "Save Sprinkles!" and then she throws him up there. I don't know why that's so funny. But yeah, fucking Stanley has a heart attack. Kevin breaks into the vending machine with a chair in the break room, and he just starts stealing snacks. Oh my god.
And then, oh my god, Kevin's chili.
Yeah, that was one of the moments that I was trying to think of. Like, right before this happened. Either that or the,
Why say more word when few word do trick? I even said that today to my coach at Dish. We were talking about like Polish and Greek words, and how like we use like context, so we don't have to like know every word. And I was like, yeah, why say more word when few word do trick? Just totally unrelated to this.
Did he get the office reference?
I don't think you did, but in any case, yeah, dude, when he drops that chili, oh.
And his whole monologue and his whole voiceover is about how proud he is of his chili, and how it's like a family recipe, and he's like, "Man, I can't wait to do the Malone family proud." And it's just over footage of him trying to scoop it back up into the fucking thing. Oh god. Well, and not even to mention, like, there's all the comedic bits, but I think the reason why The Office sticks out to me, personally, is because of all of the emotional things, too. Because I think any good show is going to be a balance of both those sides of the emotional coin, you know? It's like, comedy and drama, they work together so well that, like, rarely ever now do you see a show or a movie come out that's like, oh yeah, this is purely a comedy, or this is purely a drama. It's like, yeah, you can't have one without the other, like, because the comedic bits make the dramatic bits that much more impactful and vice versa. So it's like, when you have all these funny moments in an episode of The Office, and then the end of the episode is like, oh, I'm trying to think of a really emotional one. I mean, obviously Michael leaving, that whole episode just fucking sucks so much. I hate watching that episode. I'm thinking of Parks and Rec moments now. Yeah, because there was a video that Drew Gooden put out where he was analyzing a bunch of shows and comparing shows that had laugh tracks to shows that didn't have laugh tracks. And this is something that he talked about in his video too, where there's an episode where Leslie is, you know, voting for herself for senator, and she's, you know, there's this inner turmoil where she's like, I have to not be with my partner anymore if I do this, but like I want this really badly because this is something that I've worked towards for a really long time. And it's this really dramatic moment that you can read on her face. And then Paul Rudd, who's playing one of Leslie's like rivals, he's like, "Hey Leslie, can you help me? I got pen ink all over myself." And she's like, "Yeah, I'll be there in a second." And it's like The Office, because it comes from like the same, you know, writing team and like directors and creative team and stuff. The Office has a lot of episodes like that too, where there's, you know, a lot of laughter and there's a lot of really fun moments. But then, you know, at the end of an episode, like the volleyball episode, you know, where like ups and downs, man. Like at one point, you know, there's the whole sequence where yeah, Holly and Michael are putting on like the play, you know, and it's supposed to be like this fun, cute thing. And they inadvertently announce to all of the branches that corporate's planning on shutting down one of them. And no one knows who it's going to be. So David Wallace has to like tell that branch, hey, we're laying all of you off at the company picnic with their families and stuff. Yeah, and then Jim and Pam, they get an announcement that they're pregnant, which is huge, and it's like a really big moment for Jim at the end of the episode where he's like crying and he's like happy and ecstatic and everything. And then Dwight, in the meantime, is like trying to distract everyone at the volleyball game. So like the ball flies like so far away from like the net, and he goes to grab it, and he's like running really slowly, and then he gets there and he kicks it, and he's like, "Oops!" Ah, man.
And dude, I just love how I think it was so smart to shoot it in like a documentary style.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was another moment, like when the camera became a character.
What? Oh, yes! Thank you.
And I was like, that's so cool.
Yeah, dude. It's just like the creative team. I don't know. I know they're not the first to ever do something like that, but they're definitely the ones to like really popularize it. And people will say all they want that the British version was better. I don't think I'm ever going to go out of my way to watch the British version of The Office. Although, I mean, Ricky Gervais is fun. I don't think, I don't know. Oh, Martin Short is in that one too. Or not Martin Short.
Speaking of Better Call Saul, Bob Odenkirk plays in The Office too.
Yeah, he initially auditions to play Michael Scott, and they turn him down, but in the show, he plays a character at another, like, office that I think, what was Pam doing there? She was, I don't know, she was in another office for something, and it wasn't even a paper company, but Bob Odenkirk got to play, like, a version of Michael Scott, like he was a regional manager at another company. And it was basically his take on Michael Scott, you know, at the audition. And it was really fun. Yeah, so many guest stars, dude. You have James Spader, Jim Carrey, Craig Robinson, who plays Craig in the show.
He's
like,
not even a guest star. He's just a
he's
star.
just on the show, yeah. Yeah, man, who else shows... what's her name from Misery? Kathy Bates. She guest stars in the show a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Idris Elba is in the show.
Karen...
Rashida Jones, who ended up being in Parks and Rec too. So, like, you know, is it a lot to watch, like, 9 seasons of the show? Like, obviously, 9 seasons is a lot. But is it worth it? I think so. And I know there's a lot of people that you'll talk to that are like, I tried to watch The Office and I started and I couldn't get into it. And I guess it's fine. I guess everyone has their preferences, but I don't know, man. I feel like for me, The Office has a lot of appeal. And I'd definitely go back and rewatch it, you know, if I wasn't in the middle of a couple of shows right now.
Dude, this whole, we can do a whole podcast episode where we just sit here and, like, say quotes. Like, it's just that well written and that memorable.
Yeah, and I never thought that would be a show that, like, you and I could talk about. Because I remember those times where you were like, yeah, fuck The Office. And I would think, like, oh, man, that sucks.
I don't know why. Because I was just fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes things get really popular, and I know for me, like, I will try to ignore the fact that I want to be a part of those conversations, but I never give myself the time to watch those things. Like anime, for a really long time, I didn't want to watch anime because, you know, I wasn't familiar with it. So instead of just being honest and telling people, like, yeah, I don't watch a whole lot of anime, I would pretend that I didn't even care, that I didn't want to watch it. And now, some of my favorite, you know, pieces of media ever are either anime or, like, based in anime. And it's like, I couldn't imagine, you know, my life had I not started. And I couldn't imagine my life if I hadn't watched The Office. Because, like I said, that was a huge inspiration. Like, it formed who I was as a person in high school. Like, to a point that I'm a little embarrassed to admit. Because, you know, like, Jim and Pam, I love them, but there's a lot of, like, toxic tendencies with those two that you shouldn't try to replicate in real life. And I did anyway. Between that and Ted Mosby from How I Met Your Mother. I don't know if you'd be into How I Met Your Mother, but, like, I really like it. Those were the two shows, were The Office and How I Met Your Mother. So maybe I'll talk about that one day too, but yeah, man, really, really good show. Like, we could probably, you know, do an episode, like, later where we bring The Office back and just talk about, like, our favorite episodes or something, because there's so much to that show.
Yeah, there really is a lot.
Yeah. You know, I think that'll be for another time, because I think we touched on, and, you know, most of the reasons why it appeals to us. Honestly, it was mostly just us quoting parts of the show and being like, hey, isn't that funny? So next time I promise there's going to be a little bit more critical thinking involved. But we're both loopy. Yeah, man, let's talk about Metallica.
I was gonna wear a shirt and I forgot.
It's okay, man. I mean, there's nothing stopping us from talking about Metallica.
I just
again.
forgot because we were like, yeah, we're in the merch, but I guess you are, so
Yeah, and last time you were wearing the trivia merch, so we're even.
fuck it.
We're even. Fuck it.
Even, bro. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm pretty sure Metallica and Pearl Jam have played a show before, or at least a festival. That seems like something that would have happened in the 90s.
I'm sure. But yeah, okay. Metallica was the first band. They were the first band that shaped everything.
Yeah.
Despite their imperfections, and yes, there is quite a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're listening to this, me in 7th grade, yeah, I fucking said it. They're not perfect.
They're not perfect. I don't know, man. The same with Trivium. They're another band that, like, I didn't really ever get into, and I wouldn't have gotten into had it not been for, you and our buddies in middle school that listened to them. Because at that time, the only band that I was really listening to regularly was Nickelback. And I'm not afraid to admit it anymore. Okay? You can bull me all you want.
There are fans. There's fans out there.
There are fans. And I would say Nickelback kind of gets more hate than they deserve because it's popular and fun to make fun of Nickelback, because it really is.
I mean, they could be Imagine Dragons.
They could be Imagine Dragons, who I unironically enjoyed their first album, but that's not about them. This is not about them. It's not about Nickelback. It's about Metallica.
Yeah, Metallica.
Yeah.
Metallica.
So you got into Metallica.
In 2008, right when Death Magnetic came out.
Yes, and I remember that time because our buddy Josh Lopez, shout out Josh, there was a day where in the library there was like a study hall after school, and I asked both of you what you were doing after school, and you were just hanging out there. And Death Magnetic had recently come out, and I think Josh had brought the CD like to school to show us, and I had never listened to Metallica before, at least not knowingly. I think my dad might have played Metallica, like Ride the Lightning or something in the car.
Yeah, I remember seeing my dad had Master of Puppets, and I remember the cover, and it frightened me, so I stayed away from it. Mm-hmm. And then Josh, I still remember the goddamn moment. We were sitting on his couch, and he was like, in the linear notes, like the band photo with them in sunglasses looking all edgy.
Yeah.
He was literally introducing me to the band.
Mm.
And so I was like, okay, I'll listen. So I went home and I popped in Master of Puppets. And the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, so now we're moving on to the next topic. No, I'm kidding. The rest is history. You already know the rest. Yeah, dude. I don't know what album that was for me, honestly. I think because Josh, again, was a super big part of the reason why I started, because we would sleep over at Josh's house, because that was what you did in 5th grade. You just slept, spent the night at your friend's house, and he had this DVD of all of Metallica's music videos from up until a certain point. I think like 2001
from the first one, the one until like the Saint Anger stuff.
Yeah, and I remember being pretty like meh about all of the music, because I thought like it's not for me, it's not my thing. And then I listened to Nothing Else Matters, and that kind of changed everything for me, because I was playing guitar at the time, and I was looking for songs to play, and I didn't really know where to start. And then I found out that metal bands also write songs on acoustic guitar and softer songs, and I thought, wow, This is new. This is something that I didn't expect. And then, just like with Trivium last week, you were like, with Screaming, if you find one song that kind of does it for you, and then that kind of is your gateway song into the rest of their discography. So
Even though
playing acoustic is totally lame and not metal.
yeah, it's definitely not metal. And I don't think it's super lame, but, I also respect Nathan who?
Explosion.
I also respect Nathan Explosion. What a cool name.
But yeah, man, from 2008 to about halfway to 2012,
Yeah.
every goddamn day, blasting fucking Injustice for All and shit.
Yeah.
Playing the absolute living hell out of Guitar Hero Metallica.
Oh yeah.
I
Big time.
played that game so much, my disc actually got like scratches and like burns.
That's a
from how
good
much I
sign
played it.
though.
I played that game so much that you get like you level up in the game by like playing. You get like money from your set list or whatever, and it like pretty much maxes out at like 500,000, and that's like level 30, and then beyond that it resets like the like you level up every $50, $100.
Right.
So just like the beginning, I actually went past that point and like re-upped, I guess.
Yeah, Prestige or whatever.
Fuck, I play that game so much.
Yeah, Guitar Hero is gonna have to be in its own separate episode because there are things that I've learned playing Guitar Hero that like transferred over to playing actual guitar, and not in a good way. Like I think I mentally screwed myself on like some technique things because I was so used to playing Guitar Hero instead of actual guitar. But yeah, man, Metallica playing Metallica and like you having the drum set and being able to play guitar and stuff. I remember there were whole summer days where we would just spend all day playing Guitar Hero, and it was sick. It was awesome.
Well, not much has changed, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, and that did a lot for me as a Metallica fan. Was getting to play through those songs and memorize those guitar solos because I had to if I wanted to get good and get 5 stars. But yeah, and then that all kind of culminated for both of us getting to see them at Soldier Field a couple years ago, because that was huge, because that was a band that we had never seen before live, and we got to go see them together, and we were in the pit. We were in the general admission, like standing room only, and that was intense. That was...
It took 9 years to see them.
9 years.
They were here in 2009, so like on the Death Magnetic tour, but I couldn't go see that.
Yeah, because we had homework.
Yeah, they played like a festival maybe sometime after that, but they never did a standalone show.
Yeah.
For 8 years.
And then they came back for Hardwired, I think.
I got into this band, bled the absolute hell out of them, and got out of them before they showed up and played live.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, like, I'm always going to appreciate what Metallica meant for me and what they did for me musically and identity-wise. You know, I found a lot to identify with when I would tell people, like, yeah, I like Metallica and I listen to Megadeth and Anthrax now, and not so much Slayer because I like Raining Blood, but everything else scares me. But yeah, dude, and then that kind of opened up the gates to the same thing that Trivium did. Like, we both liked those bands for different things, but we could come together on the objectively cool parts of that band and those songs and those albums. Because I ended up going in kind of a different direction where my post high school or post middle school kind of musical tastes, I appreciated like heavy stuff, but when it was in conjunction with like softer things. So I ended up falling into like the Midwest emo, like sort of like indie arena where it was like stuff that I could play on guitar if I wanted, but also, you know, there was like a crunchy guitar song every once in a while, or there were like blast beats on a, you know, probably not an indie song, but you know what I mean. Yeah, and then Metallica kind of introduced, I don't know, you to the wider world of metal.
Dude. I mean, for as much shit as Lars gets, I mean, he is the reason I play drums. The sole reason. No one else. It's all him. And you know what? Fuck it. Up until Injustice for All, dude, Shortest Straw to this day is still one of the most fun songs to play. His playing on Justice was incredible.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck who you are.
I would say those first 4 albums.
But even, I mean, the Black Album, like, what you're going to do on there. I mean,
yeah,
you know, there's not much you can do. But, like, yeah, from then on, it just kind of got whatever.
Yeah.
But,
No, those first 4 albums were something special. Because I distinctly remember I would download the CDs. I gotta do it.
what?
CD's nuts. So I would download the CDs to my Xbox, and I would play Gears of War. Yep. A little bit. We're gonna wait a little bit. And I would play Gears of War, and instead of listening to the in-game music, like I would turn down the in-game music and just play from the music player on the 360, I would just listen to all of those first 4 albums, just like all the way through. And it was awesome. It was sick. And then when I found out that my dad had a copy of Ride the Lightning, stole that from him as soon as I could. And I think that became my favorite of the first 4.
Dude, we had this thing called Cliff Day, where me and a couple friends, we would take a stereo, and every February 10th and September 27th, February 10th, somewhere around there was Cliff's birthday, and he died on September 27th.
Yeah.
So every one of those 2 days, we'd go out to this like park district, and this like big like thing with like a bunch of picnic tables everywhere.
Oh, like a forest preserve?
Yeah. We turn that shit to max volume, and we blast the first 3 albums to like celebrate.
Yeah.
Cliff Burton.
Yeah, Cliff.
That's how hard we were.
Yeah.
On them.
It took a really long time for any of us to be really like critical of Metallica. I think it was. It's the same thing with like Sonic the Hedgehog games. And I don't know who made this comparison or who on the internet I saw make this comparison, but it was like Sonic the Hedgehog, and Metallica are very similar in that they're really cool and interesting when you're first introduced. Like if Sonic was like your first game franchise / if Metallica was your first metal band, it's like, yeah, they're really cool, but look at all this other stuff. And then you kind of move on from them really quickly, and you're able to look back on them really fondly, even after, their first initial outings were a lot better than, the later things that came along. Yeah, man, I still look back on Metallica, and I'm like, yeah, that was a big moment for me. I hear like Until It Sleeps, or I hear stuff from Load or Reload, and I remember seeing those music videos like at sleepovers at Josh's house, and I remember looking up tabs for those songs, and those were kind of what got my fingers used to like lead lines and stuff like that. So Metallica, we're never gonna forget you, and what you mean to us, because I don't know, man, it's something special. They were something really special, and they still are. But I just have a feeling I'm never gonna see them live again, and then by the time I want to see them live again, it'll be too late. And they'll be like, yeah, man, we're in our 70s. I don't think I want to do this anymore.
They might go the Iron Maiden route and just like, yeah, we're going to drop dead on stage.
Yeah.
This shit's never going to end.
That sucks. That straight up sucks. But hey, man, if you're for the music like that, like in that way, especially metal music, holy shit. Like their ears must be terrible. Their hearing must be terrible. Yeah, I think we got to get on to the next thing before you pass out in that chair.
Yeah.
We kind of touched on it already a little bit, but another middle school. I know the big part of middle school for both of us was the game franchise Gears of War, which, correct me if I'm wrong, our friend Josh also introduced us to.
Yeah.
And also introduced us to during sleepovers and nights over and stuff. I didn't get an Xbox 360 for a very long time, but if you're unfamiliar with the series, Gears of War takes place in a dystopian version of not even Earth. Sarah, yeah. Takes place in a dystopian future on a distant planet where an alien race called the Locust kind of burrow into the core of this planet and try to enslave the human race. And obviously the humans resist and they uprise, and they're called the Cogs, the Cog Coalition or something.
Coalition of Organized Government? I don't know.
Yeah. And and so the biggest appeal for that series of games was one, the gore. You could literally chainsaw people in half, or blow them to bits or whatever.
I think everyone knows the Lancer. That shit even popped up in like, wasn't it Wreck-It Ralph? Didn't the lady have an actual Lancer?
Maybe.
Or was that no, Ready Player One? I think.
Ready Player One. Yeah. So like the Lancer, the gore and like the actual combat itself was really, you know. But the other thing was that first trailer. Oh my god, where they used Gary Jules' version of Mad World. I think that thing has won awards. Like that trailer has won awards, and I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it now. Yeah, if you haven't watched it, go and search up on YouTube like Gears of War Mad World trailer and watch that 1.5-minute long piece of cinema. It just describes the hopelessness of the game, you know, the game's tone and the just the overwhelming darkness that you face when you play that. Not to sound super edgy, but I don't know. It was super popular for like edgy kids, I feel like, and you know, perfect for listening to Metallica when you're, you know, popping heads off with the long shot or shooting an arrow into someone's chest and watching it explode with the torque bow. I don't know, man. It's just like, yeah. And it was also a big third-person game. Like there weren't a whole lot of third-person shooters that were really popular online until Gears of War came out, and then it kind of skyrocketed the 360's sales through the roof. And, you know, nowadays Gears of War is, as a franchise, a little bit more quiet. I feel like they're not doing as much. I mean, Gears 5 came out, 2 years ago? Something like that?
2019.
2019, yeah. But I really want to talk about our journey with Gears from the beginning. And
I
then,
still remember the first day.
Yeah?
The first day, Josh had, like, we played on Gridlock, you know, and he was just, like, shooting my head off constantly.
Yeah, and it sucked.
But he was, like, actually, like, trying to train me and shit. And I didn't play much of the first one because I didn't have Xbox Live, especially. But I actually still remember when, before Gears 2 was coming out, you were talking about it, how it was like, oh yeah, you're going to be able to crawl now, like when you're down. And then I remember exactly what Josh said, and he was like, oh right, as if you're going to be able to get away.
Wow. I mean, it sounds like something Josh would say.
And you can get away. If you're by cover, you can like crawl into the cover.
Yeah, mostly like if someone shoots you from really far away, or like in the story mode, like in campaign, you can get, you know, revived. Revive me is something that you hear a lot.
Man, Gears 2 has got to be one of my most played games ever.
Same.
When it came out, dude, I had like this little notebook where I would write down how many kills I got in each match.
Yeah.
I would just sit there for hours and hours just playing King of the Hill. I remember taking my hard drive back when Xbox had like removable hard drives.
Yeah, sort of like the memory cards for the PS2, but like a third of the size of the system.
Yeah,
you know?
I'd just take that thing. I'd walk to my friend Dale's house and we'd play the fuck out of Horde.
Yeah, dude. Oh, Horde mode was so fun.
And then one time I actually dropped my hard drive, and from then on I could never play Gears 2 on my profile again.
Oh shit!
Like I can sign out and it'd work fine, but the moment I try to sign in, it would freeze my console.
Whoa!
So I don't know what happened, but moral of the story is I fucking played the living Christ out of Gears 2.
Yeah.
And it did not slow down. In fact, I think it ramped up for Gears 3.
Yeah, dude. Gears 3, because Gears 3, first of all, was the third in the trilogy, and it like Gears 2 was I didn't play Gears 1 for a very long time. I think Gears 2 was the one that I got into, and then it took until like I saw Gears 1 on sale at Disc Replay or something, or it was part of like a triple pack with Gears 4 or something that you know. But when Gears 2 came out, same thing. One of my most played games ever. Like, I would bring that everywhere, and I would try to get everyone hooked on Gears and Metallica. And then when Gears 3 came out, what was that, 2010? 2011?
Oh my god. Remember when it was delayed like an entire half year?
I don't.
Because it was supposed to come out in like September 2010.
Yeah.
And they delayed it till like April 2011.
Oh my god, yeah.
I remember I was like, oh, I'm gonna spend my whole summer playing Gears 3, and
Yeah.
they delayed it to the end of the school year.
Yeah.
I was so upset.
Yeah, I mean, it was going to be a birthday thing, too, because both of our birthdays are in October. So it was
Yeah.
like, that would have been a cool... But yeah, and Gears 3 eventually came out, and it was everything that I wanted it to be and more. Honestly, I don't think there was a single aspect of Gears 3 that I was disappointed with.
Actually, to this day, I think it's the only time I've ever seen a line at a GameStop. Because I was there, like, the day it released, and there was a line out of the GameStop.
Wow.
Like, Gears 3 was fucking huge.
It was a big event, and
Like-
it sold really well, and, like, it was really well received, and, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it was as big as, like, Halo 3 or anything like that.
No, Halo 3 I think will never be overshadowed. I think to this day it's probably the best-selling Xbox 360 game ever.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, dude, when Gears 3 came out, first of all, I guess spoilers for Gears. It wrapped up Dom's story, who was my favorite character for a while only because whenever I would play it with Josh, like, he would be Marcus and I would be player 2, you know? So, like, as the player 2 player, you feel a special connection to Dom, and it wrapped his story up really nicely. The combat never felt better. Like, the actual gameplay itself, just, like, running to cover and, like quick reloads were really
reloads.
active reloads. Yeah, they were really fun. Jumping in and out of cover was really satisfying, and like hugging the wall felt really like the new weapons they introduced too, like the Retro Lancer. That was really cool. Horde mode. There was another mode too.
Beast mode.
Beast mode. Yeah, Beast mode was fun, where you got to play as the Locust, and then you would get more currency per kill, and then you could use it to upgrade into like bigger Locusts. Yeah, man. And then I think Gears 3 is when they introduced like the market in Horde mode too, where you could like buy supplies.
Yeah, you could like buy like base things.
Yeah. Yeah, and so like I would in high school, we would play the shit out of Gears 3. Jumping in and out of games until like 1 a.m. during the summer.
Yeah, dude, I maxed my level out. Because you can hit level 100, and then you could re-up 3 times, and you get like the golden wings.
Yeah.
And that's what I got.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got that much, but I also really liked. I think they introduced like skins for your weapons too.
Yeah, weapon skins. Yep.
Yeah, and that was really fun because like you would have a combination of weapon skins in your loadout, and like getting to unlock them was and achievements were still kind of a really big deal. I liked getting achievements in high school so much.
Yeah, man. Then they had the DLC ROM Shadow where you can play as ROM.
Yeah,
That was really cool.
What else?
And then Judgment happened.
Oh, yeah. That's when Cliff Bleszinski left and the Gears games started being developed by someone else. So instead of...
People Can Fly.
Yeah. Did one of them was Gearbox, right? Or like Black Tusk or something like that?
That's what they are now.
That's what they are now, yeah. So instead of Epic Games, it was like a branch of Epic Games that was like a different team. And they made a prequel story that Baird was the main character, and I think Cole was the number 2.
Yeah, it was just like their story.
Yeah, and it's like whenever you do a prequel game, you know that the stakes aren't very high because the story is already done. That's like seeing Solo, right? Like the Star Wars spin-off, and then in the trailer they're like, oh, Chewbacca is hanging outside of this train. Is he gonna get his head knocked off? It's like, no. He shows up in the next movie.
Yeah.
We know. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. It was a fine game, but definitely my least played.
When it came out, me and Josh were playing it. It was like, yeah, this is even better than Gears 3. And then like a week later, we were like, I don't want to play that game anymore.
Yeah, the retention rate for Gears Judgment was so low, and I think they knew that. I think the company knew that, because then they got ready to release Gears 4. Which was a sequel to Gears 3, and it took place like a couple of decades after.
Yeah.
And you play as
JD.
his
son.
Yeah, who was Marcus's son. And it was fine. I think I remember I bought the deluxe edition because they had the regular edition, they had like the deluxe, and then they had the gold edition. And I got the gold edition because they were like, yeah, it comes with a steelbook and you get all of this DLC.
Yeah, dude. I got the whole loot box.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What was that?
I got, it's like a loot box. It just has a bunch of shit. It has like a...
Oh,
like
that's...
a flag in it, some concept art, some, like, just a bunch of extra shit.
That's right.
And yeah, I was hyped for Gears 4.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when the trailer for Gears 4 was announced at one of the E3s, I was super hyped. I was still a Gears fan at that point, and I think it was college. It must have been like sophomore or junior year of college. I forget when exactly it came out.
2016.
2016, that was my sophomore year then. And I got the gold edition, and I played through the game when it came out, and I was trying to play with David, and I don't think we ever played a whole lot of like Gears 4 together.
No.
And it got to a point where I hadn't played it for such a long time. And I didn't bring my Xbox with me to school anymore because I was going, to halfway across the state for school. My friends had bought me a PS4, and then I got a Nintendo Switch, and then I just straight up stopped playing my Xbox One. I stopped playing my Xbox One, my Xbone. And then one summer, I came back home, and I turned my Xbone on, and I was like, let's play some Gears. I don't have any other games on this system that I really want to play right now. Let's play Gears. And I get into a match, and we're playing on maps that I had never seen before. And I was like, what is this? And I'm seeing characters that I'd never seen before. And then it hit me. This is all of the DLC that I had already bought that auto-downloaded to my system, and I hadn't ever been aware. Like, I hadn't played for so long, I didn't know what was going on. And then I put it back down, and I don't think I've touched Gears since.
And I still played the hell out of Horde. Me, Anthony, and John, we played the shit out of that. Just really a lot. And then, Gears 5, it came out in 2019.
Yeah.
And the story was fine. I think it was better than 5. I liked it better than 5.
4?
Or 4, yeah.
Well, because I know you follow Kat now, and Kat with an E, or an I. I don't know how she spells her name, but yeah, you don't play as JD anymore. And I remember when I saw the trailer for that Gears game, I don't know, it happened at the same time that they announced the Funko like Blitz game for like the Gears, which is like the tactical RPG. And I remember that night, and I was not hyped for Gears 5 at all. I was like, because like at that point, 2019, what was that?
2019, yeah.
Yeah, I had graduated from college already. I was at home, and there were other games that I was looking forward to a lot more, and there were different franchises that I was looking forward to. And so, I don't know, for me, like if Gears 6 were to be announced tomorrow, like, I don't know, man. I just don't think I have it anymore to have it in me anymore to really care about future Gears releases. But just like with Metallica, it's like I look back on those nights that I would play Gears 2 and Gears 3, and yeah, man, I was just, that was my game. That was my game franchise for a very long time. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll still play Gears 6 when it comes out just because I want to know what the hell they're going to do with the story. Because Gears 5, there's a crazy-ass twist near the end, which I'm just super interested to see where they go from there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this series is definitely overstayed its welcome, I think.
I think as soon as they announced Gears 4, I think it's, honestly, like, because I get it. Like, you don't want to drop a franchise too early. But kind of the same thing with The Office, Same thing with Metallica. It's like, at a certain point, you're just in it because you know it's going to make you a lot of money, and the franchise is still worth it, or like the band is still worth, doing more stuff with. When the reality is like, hey man, just let it end when it naturally feels like it could end. Like, I don't know. I feel like Gears could have ended at Gears 3, and it would have gone on as one of the best game trilogies, on the 360, if not like of all time. But now it's this like bloated series that has a lot more entries that it really needs, and it doesn't really add anything new with each entry. And at least from what I understand, people kind of complained about not that I'm a graphics guy, But we were supposed to jump from like the Xbox One to I guess Gears 5 was still on the Xbox One, but I don't know, man. So I still look back on Gears 2 and 3 and like bits of Gears 1, and yeah, those are really good memories that I'll look back on, for the rest of my life.
Man, and my biggest problem is like the end bosses are just so stupid now.
Yeah.
I remember Gears 1 had Rob, and it was just this train fight of this guy.
Yeah.
And then it was hard as hell, and then it was so satisfying to beat. And every game beyond that, they just kept getting bigger and bigger. Like the Gears 5 end boss is so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
It's just this routine thing where you gotta wait for the tentacles to come, and then you shoot them, and then you gotta go to this thing, shoot the laser, and you do that 4 times, just the same thing over and over again. I'm just like, just give us a guy.
Yeah.
Give us another ROM where it's just you and you just trying to beat this fucking thing, and stop making big spectacles. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, I think the minute, not even the minute, maybe the second that like series like Uncharted came out, and consumers realized that, oh, I think I like it when my movies are actually games, or my games are actually movies. I think when developers realized to like just put in a bunch of like quick time events and like have really long cutscenes that are like written really well, like they're supposed to be in movies or TV shows or whatever, and then make the end boss like this really big thing and have like a really big, like a big MCU criticism is like the Skybeam battles. It's like nowadays games like that are a dime a dozen. So when it comes to games outside those big franchises, like I can't play first person shooters anymore. It's just that it doesn't do it for me. Like it takes a very, now that like we're adults too, so like finding time to like sit all day and play video games, it's a lot harder to do than it was. And so like a game has to be really, really unique and really satisfying to play for me to sit down and give that much time to it. Or, it's a game where I can jump in and out in like 15, minutes to an hour. And it's like, I play a lot of Pokemon Unite now, or like Smite, where their MOBAs and like games last like 20 minutes. Or like mobile games, it's like you can just jump in and like close out of the app whenever. You don't have to save, you don't have to, there's no like save points that you have to get to. So, not to sound way too old and start complaining about, video games now and how they're so different than when I was a kid. I don't know. But Gears of War, for all of its flaws, and for how, I guess, downhill I think it's gone since Gears 3, which isn't to say that, it's a bad franchise, but I still love them.
Just an average one at this point.
Just an average one. And not to end on a sour note, I guess, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe this is a lesson that a lot of your things from your childhood and movies and parts of your life that you look back on with a lot of nostalgia aren't really all that great.
Yeah, man. I also forgot to talk about Ultimate Edition. It was a remake of Gears 1, but man, I was fucking kind of a badass with a sniper. Dude, I made montages with Spider-Man music in the background.
That's right.
And
that is right.
There's some fucking decent clips in there, I gotta say. Not to flick my own bean or anything, but
you could have said toot my own horn.
Good stuff. Anyway, yeah.
I think we should get out of here. It's time. So, hey, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for listening to us chat and complain about how much better our childhoods were than now times are. Thanks for stopping by, and I'm starting to repeat myself because I'm getting a little sleepy.
Yeah, that's a 4x4 Jeep.
This is Vanessa. And this has been kind of a chaotic episode, but you know what? That's what you signed up for when you clicked on this. So stay warm/cool in the next week. It's supposed to get really muggy, at least around here. And
any fans in Houston, Texas, Come say hi to me.
Come say hi to David. He's gonna be in Houston, Texas, and that's all I know.
I'll be signing autographs. Let me sign your car.
Yeah, you can sign your tires. He can sign your tires because he also works at Discount.
Tires. And you can sign my hat, and you'll be featured on the next
Yeah. So
episode.
if you wanna get featured on the next episode, be sure to find David when he has his hat on, assault him with a Sharpie, and he has to have his back turned because he's very agile when he's looking right at you. Make sure he has his back turned. And then pounce on him. He'll say, "Good game, GG." You sign the hat, and then we announce your name on the next podcast that he comes back from after Houston. But until then, take care of yourselves. Wash your hands. Much love. Peace and love. Peace and love. Like Ringo Starr once said. I have to go let the dog out because the dog has been inside for 27 and a half hours and there's piss everywhere outside this very door. So don't go out there. All the pee is going to come flooding in like that scene from The Shining where it was blood out of the
That's
elevator.
enough. Cut.